Good morning, everyone. Are we ready to get started, everybody? We welcome you to Sunday celebration. We are here celebrating your spiritual magnificence, and we invite and welcome the Big Love Band to get us rocking and rolling this morning. And please remember, if you haven't already, to turn off your cell phones to silence them. Thank you so much. And let's hear it for the Big Love Band.
Ooh, good morning. Okay, why is everyone sitting?
Yay, she's
Let's
standing.
get up. We're going to get our blood flowing this morning, and our love flowing this morning, and our energy flowing this morning. So join us in singing all of our fun songs. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. Oh, my soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. All right. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. Oh, my soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. My soul is welcome here.
My soul
is welcome here.
welcome here.
My soul is welcome here.
My soul
My soul is welcome here. My soul is welcome here. My soul is welcome here.
Oh, yeah. And we want you to know, wherever you are on your spiritual path, you are so very welcome here. Your soul is truly welcome here. We believe that we are co-creators with the divine and that we can change our entire lives by changing our minds. Yes, and if I can do it, anybody can do it. And our founder of this philosophy is Ernest Holmes, and we teach here the universal truth found in all spiritual teachings, both traditional and contemporary. So all the way from the Bible up to Louise Hay and Deepak Chopra and Eckhart Tolle and many, many others. So please visit our website at cslcapecoral.org for information on upcoming events. We do a lot of stuff here. To submit prayer requests or to send us your comments and questions. We would love to hear from you. And we want to give thanks today to Valerie, who is over here. She is in meditation, holding the high watch for our service today and holding us all in a field of love. Isn't that wonderful? So we give thanks to her. And For those of you who are new, we are in between ministers right now, and we have a vision statement welcoming our new minister. So I invite you to all repeat along with me. We are grateful for our new minister, who is an energetic, creative, dynamic, charismatic leader who is fun, loving, and kind, a teacher, administrator who inspires our community to greater spiritual heights and joy. Oops. So thank you, everyone. And now we're going to have some more love and fun with the Big Love Band.
Okay, I think we all know this one, right? Yeah, so you all want to join in?
Oh, you've got to sing along.
I'm sure
Come
you
on.
do.
You've got to.
I think this goes with our theme pretty well that we're going to be hearing from Ron today. We are family. All my brothers, sisters with me. We are family. Get up, everybody, sing. We are family. All my brothers, sisters with me. Oh yeah. We are family. Get up, everybody, sing. Everyone can see as we walk on by, and we fly just like birds of a feather. I won't tell no lie. All of the people around us, they say, can we be that close? Just let me stay for the record. We're giving love and the family knows. We are family. Come on, sing it. All my brothers, sisters with me. We are family. Get up, everybody, sing. We are family. Come on. All my brothers, sisters with me. Hey, we are family. Come on. Get up, everybody, sing.
Living life is fun and we've just begun to get our share of the world's delight.
High hopes we have for the future and our goals inside. No, we don't get depressed. Here's what we call a golden rule. Have faith in you and the things we do. You won't go wrong. This is our family rule. Yeah, we are family. Yes. All my brothers, sisters, and me. Come on, let's go. We are family. Get up, everybody, and sing two more times. We are family. Let's sing. All my brothers, sisters, with me. Oh yeah, we are family. Get up, everybody, and sing. One more time. We are family, yeah, yeah, yeah. All my brothers, sisters, with me. We are family. Get up, everybody, and sing. We are family.
And everyone stay standing. This is our time of service where we bestow a blessing on each other. So warm up those hands of manifestation. And if you're at home, you can point them back at us or point them in on yourselves or anybody else in the room that you're with. And please repeat with me. Welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living. We know who you truly are. You are the spiritual image and likeness of God. We appreciate you, we love you, and we are thankful you are here. Welcome to the center.
So who usually eats that many cookies in one sitting? Mom does. Oh, good to know, Mom. Does it ever feel like it's enough? I don't know. Maybe.
This goes so well with Malika's meditation this morning.
It
Oh my
does.
God.
It does. That's how it works, right?
Yeah, there you go. And potluck.
There is more than enough in a universe that you created. There is more than enough on a planet of sacred design. There is more than enough for humanity made in your image. Why would I worry? Why would I doubt? Why would I ever think I'd go without? Why would I worry? Why would I doubt? Why would I ever think I'd go without? Infinite love made me, made everything I see, all that will ever be. So infinite love, let the soul know the truth. Whatever I choose to do, infinite love will prove more than enough. There is more than enough in the universe that you created. There is more than enough on a planet of sacred design. There is more than enough for humanity made in your image. Why would I worry? Why would I doubt? Why would I ever think I'd go without? Why would I worry? Why would I doubt? Why would I ever think I'd go without? Your infinite love made me, made everything I see, all that will ever be. So infinite love, let the world know the truth. Whatever we choose to do, infinite love will prove more than enough. Infinite love made me. Let's go. Made everything I see, all that will ever be. So infinite love, let the world know the truth. Whatever we choose to do, infinite love will prove more than enough.
Thank you, Big Love Band. My name is Melissa Tuff, and I am one of the licensed practitioners here at the Center for Spiritual Living Cape Coral. It is my great pleasure to bring you a reading and prayer for today. And so today's theme from Home Office is You and Me Create Society, but I love the way that my good friend Ron changed it to Creating a Beautiful World Together. And so in that subsect, I actually looked up that very term, creating a beautiful world together. And I was drawn to a page by Sofo Arshan, and it was 15 ways that you can create to help create a better world. And I'm going to share those 15 ways with you. 1, question all beliefs and ideologies that have been handed down to you from tradition, no matter how back in time they go. This will help you see the world with different, fresh eyes that will allow you to better understand it and your relation to it. 2, stop supporting those who want to keep humanity enslaved. 3, don't blame others for anything that goes wrong in the world. Instead, take responsibility in your hands and become a problem solver. 4, realize the oneness of all humanity. Our categorization of people into race, nation, religion, and sexual orientation only help to separate them from one another, thus inevitably creating conflict between them. 5, avoid competition. Contrary to popular belief, it is hindering progress and breeds violence. 6, don't be too quick to judge people, for every person has a story you might not be aware of. 7, be careful of the words you utter. They have immense power to tremendously affect people's lives. 8, escape from the materialism trap. Material things do not satisfy your emotional or spiritual needs. 9, realize that money is only an agreement and that our current economic system is based on debt. Hence, it's inherently unjust and inevitably creates the thoughts of poverty, greed, violence, disease, and environmental destruction. Educate yourself better about alternative economic systems. 10, help put an end to mindless consumption. The countless products we buy are filling the planet with toxic waste. 11, say no to eating meat and animal-derived products. A plant-based diet is better for your health, for the animals, and for our planet. 12, and this would probably be my first one, meditate. Only when you make peace with yourself first, you will be able to make peace with others. 13, every human being is unique and important and has a special gift to offer the world. Find out what your gift is and share it open-handedly with no expectations. 14, don't preach what you don't practice. You can only teach others by example. 15, all change begins within, so be sure to embody the change you wish to see in the world. And then I would like to share a quote from Ernest Holmes. We cannot afford to hold personal animosities or enmities against the world or individual members of society. All such things are outside the law. Love alone can only beget love. And so taking all of these concepts and these words into prayer, I know that there is just that one power, that one presence, that one limitless source of creative substance back of all things. And I know that this substance flows in through and as each and every one here and each and every creation on the planet. And I know that this connection, this intertwining of each one, each expressing in their own divine, unique, spiritually magnificent way, is the powerful catalyst of creating a new society that is filled with love, joy, prosperity, harmony, and happiness. And I am just so grateful to know that I can personally be a catalyst of love within society. I step into that space today, and I invite each and every one of you to step into that space with me so that we can create a world that truly does work for everyone. And it is with that attitude of gratitude that I release my word to the law, to the one mind, knowing that this or something better is always seeking to unfold by means of us. And so I can claim and anchor this, and I invite you to join me in saying, and so it is. And it is my great pleasure to introduce you to the incomparable Ron Frost, who will be speaking for us today. Ron Frost is going to be sharing his message of creating a beautiful world together. and he is an author, speaker, life coach, and sales coach. He's also a licensed spiritual practitioner that studied under Reverend Shell right here at the Center for Spiritual Living Cape Coral. And he is now based out of the Center for Spiritual Living Sarasota. Ron's popular book, Getting Unstuck, The 9 Keys to Creating More Prosperity, Fulfillment, and Joy, is a practical self-coaching guide to help the reader live a more self-aware and empowered life. He and his book have been featured on numerous podcasts as well as AM and FM radio talk shows across the nation. So you guys are getting somebody semi-famous here. He's the founder of Positive Momentum Coaching, a leader of the Southwest Florida Speakers Toastmasters Club, and a former member of our own center's Leadership Council. Ron's biggest love is his family, which comprises of his beautiful wife, Fani, who is also with us today, his 2 amazing daughters, Nicole and Ashley, their 3 dogs, and 2 cats. And while this may seem like your ordinary, regular, everyday family, the real and never disclosed truth is that each evening between the hours of midnight and 5 a.m., they pose as superheroes and secretly slip into red spandex jumpsuits to fight crime throughout the galaxy, going under the code name The Incredibles. Please welcome the wonderful, magnificent Ron Frost.
Thank you, Melissa. Whew, I'm tired this morning. Last night was a really, really tough one. I mean, especially glad I took the spandex off. How's everybody doing? Good to see everyone. And thank you, Melissa, for that wonderful introduction. And I really want to say that between the anchoring of the reading and the prayer, and even Ernest Holmes' quote, and between what Malika introduced us with the foundation of the meditation about self-love and being enough, and that last song that the Big Love Band sang, I think we're done. I'm going home. This is they took all the words. This is exactly what I was going to talk about. So it's like, it's actually perfect. And I actually wrote 2 different speeches today. I had one that was dry and it was boring and there was no laughter and it would probably put everybody to sleep, including myself. And then the other one, maybe it was slightly more interesting and might get a laugh or 2, but it would certainly take us down a rabbit hole that I don't know if we'd ever get out of. Because the world is crazy, isn't it? I mean, we can't be in denial. We have to see what it is, like what's really, really going on. And as we start to look at, what is this upheaval that's going on? How are we as spiritual creatures, can we integrate this and use the skills and the knowledge that we know to be able to change ourselves, change our thoughts, change our life, change the world. And yet you're living there like, well, enormous gas prices, baby formula that's difficult to find, a war. I really thought we graduated the war. And then, a pandemic, a worldwide pandemic that has, 10,000 variants, right? So we're inundated by so many things. I'm like, I thought we're supposed to be through this ascension thing by now, right? Rainbows, unicorns, and free Skittles for everybody. And I like, what is really, really, really going on here? Yet I realized that as a spiritual being, as a practitioner of Center for Spiritual Living, and truly we're all practitioners. We're all practitioners. We're all spiritual beings. We're all light, sacred beings that are here on this planet. So we're all practitioners. But the ability to be able to transform this world and create a beautiful world, the secret lies within us. The secret really does lie within us. And we tend to be triggered as reactionary. Humans are funny in a way. We tend to be triggered as reactionary to all the things that are going on there based on programming and beliefs and things that are going on within us. Yet when we realize the truth, the be still and know, we have the sacred power in ourselves to be able to individually and collectively come together and be able to create the world that we all wish we want to see. And we can create heaven on earth, True? So the real reason why I felt that this was the topic that I wanted to change to was because there's intention within words, and it's basically saying the same thing. We're in a month of relationships, and this is the moment where we are related to society. You and me create society. But when I started coming across like different things that were happening in the past 2 weeks, I really wanted to center it into creating a beautiful world and creating a beautiful world together. And what basically happened was I had gone to an event. There was two things. One is I went to an event in Sarasota, and it was about a week and a half ago. And it was an event that there was a lot of spiritual people in there. And there were different talks that came up, different speakers. And they were all interesting in their own way. There was a doctor, there's actually a group of doctors that was talking about health and healing and detox and things that I really wanted to learn because I knew they would help me. And there was a full room of people. And then there was a person that was talking about the power of possibility, and I'm like, wow, that's me. Like I listen to that guy. It's like I could listen to this guy over and over and over again. The power of love, the power of possibility. And then there was a CIA whistleblower. Now he didn't have a whistle on him, but he had worked for the CIA for a number of years, and he was starting to share all these things that would make you go, And then there was a woman who was 30 years human trafficked. And talk about a brave soul who could stand up there and honestly, in her own words, she's there for the others. And in her words, this is actually a worldwide problem. I'm sitting here taking this in. And to know that this person lost her life as a teenager and didn't get it back until she was rescued a couple years ago. It makes you wonder. Perhaps our job is to create this beautiful world for people like that, with the power of intention. How many people have heard of Lynn Mctaggart? A few hands go up. I would Google her name, and there's a book called The Intention Experiment. And actually, if you Google Intention Experiment, you'll learn about all these intention experiments. There's another one you can Google, which is the World Peace Project, which she was also involved with. And this is where she took a group of meditators, and they basically went to different areas where there was crime, where there was proof of problems, war-torn areas. One of the first places was in 1989. She took a group of meditators to Lebanon because of all the fighting that was going on there and the deaths that were going on there. And within a certain matter of days of meditation, holding peace, and people that were trained in meditation, and to be able to focus this on this region, within a certain number of days, they had reduced fatalities by 76%. Imagine that. And she'd always had scientists and data collectors and people that could actually start to prove this. And then they went on to, I believe the next one was on Wani. Anybody who's read the book or researched on this, Wani was an area of Sri Lanka. I know Sri Lanka is going through some things now, but this is probably in the early 2000s. And it was a 25-year war that was going on between the rebels and the people in the country there. 25-year war. In a matter of so many days of people meditating, there was a ceasefire. Imagine that. So we know that this is powerful. We know that this is proven, and we teach that here at our center, and we teach this for making our lives better. And in the way of self-love, of making our lives better, we become radiant beings. We raise our vibration, and we become an integral part of the divine matrix of humanity that can heal this planet. And so the first thing that happened was going to this event and hearing this lady speak and understanding that, yes, there is a problem, and yes, the typical Ron is the old Ron is like, let's go carry signs and let's go write our congressman, let's go fight, right? It's to fight. But we learn from Ernest Holmes that which we push against, that which we fight against, we actually are creating. And so as a spiritual being, I'm like, how do I raise my vibration through the power of love to be able to transmute this planet? The second one was a question that I was proposed. It was proposed to me, and this is how I'm basing my speech today. And it was a practitioner session, and my client, who had found me through the Center for Spiritual Living Sarasota's website, we spent probably a little bit of time getting together, we prayed in, and then she had a question. And the question was, if God is good, how can there be bad? How can there be evil in the world? Have we ever heard that question? Have we ever asked that of ourselves? If the nature of God is good, why do we experience? Why do we know, have knowledge of, experience ourselves, or know that there is bad or evil in the world? Hi, Gail. Happy birthday. So I reconcile this with basically taking a look at three principles, three laws or three principles. And I will discuss them with you, and I think by the end of this discussion, we'll have a clear understanding. Because it's not that we say that there's not necessarily evil in the world, but whatever we want to call it, whatever word we want to call it. You know, the other thing that kind of came up in this discussion was, well, you guys don't accept the fact that there's a devil. And so I sat there and said, well, if there is, it has to be created out of the same God stuff that everything else is, because there's only one thing. So it depends on how we create our definitions around certain things. But when you start to look at three laws or three principles, and the difference between law and principle for my sake, and everybody defines it differently, but if you go through all the spirituality and you read all these books, and just kind of like what Ernest Holmes did, he went and he looked at all the religions and all the philosophies, Eastern and Western, and brought the ancients and the new and everything together and put it together into these basic concepts and these spiritual truths. And for me, a principle is a spiritual truth, but it doesn't have an activity attached to it. Whereas a law has an activity attached to it, but it's also a spiritual truth. Such as the law of gravity. If I dropped a pencil or if I dropped a pen, right, gravity would act on those equally. It's impersonal to the pencil or the pen, and it's constant. So we know it's a law of gravity. Where a principle might be like the sky is blue. We can all agree the sky is blue, but it's not necessarily doing anything, but it's blue. That's very vague as far as the understanding. But for this tense, I'm going to call it law because I tend to say law a lot. And law, if you know the acronym of law, basically comes from Old English, land, air, water. L-A-W. And I didn't know that until I looked it up. Governing all space, basically. So if we look at three basic laws, if we look at the law of one, the law of correspondence, or cause and effect, and the law of polarity, which is not duality. That's where we get hung up, because there can't be two things. There's only one thing. That's the law of one. But the law of polarity says everything has opposites or poles or differences. And that's what we see in this world. That's where we see what's called division amongst humanity. That's where we see something that may show up as evil or something that may be bad that we're aware of. But the truth is, because we know the law of cause and effect, and we are that cause, and God is that cause, and God works through us and as us, we can claim the truth that we want to see heaven on earth. We are creators, and that's definite. And the law of one basically says everything is within the one, and the one is with everything, and there is nothing else. So no matter what we may say about the law of polarity, it can't be duality. It can only be expression, and we can reconcile it through that process of understanding basically metaphysical law. If you were to look at the V and look at the three layers, the top layer basically is what we would call spirit or seed. The middle layer is the law or the soil. And then the bottom layer would be the manifestation. This also shows up in the emerald tablets, as above, so below. As above, so below. Or as within, so without. That's the personal use of the law. As within, so without. And actually, it goes further than that. If you read more of it, it's actually as without, so within. So there's what's called correspondence, or the mirror effect. The world is a mirror, and if I'm being triggered by anything outside in that world, anything that irks me, whatever the situation is, whether it's a person or something somebody says or a happening in the world, and I'm being fired up about that, and I'm justifying the fact that I am being fired up about that, is really a program or something that's going on inside of me because I am the reflection, or I'm the mirror to that world. So it's knowing and understanding these principles and bringing them together that we can be conscious beings and start to create what's called self-love, the practice of self-love. And if we go further and we start to look at what we would say are the three most common human behaviors, not that we're spiritually enlightened people, so we're talking about other people. But if we start to look at the three common behaviors, there is a very, very common urge to take sides. Do we see that? Did we ever participate in that? Have we ever participated in that? And we look at society. I mean, it's set up, it's kind of like set up that way. Team sports, right? I always wonder, could we create a basketball court that's triangular with 3 teams, 3 hoops, 1 ball? It would be the audience at home watching TV that would freak out. Be like, I don't know what to do here. I don't know who to vote for. And we see that in politics. We also see separation within other systems. But quite often, we become divided because of programming. Maybe it's what our parents thought or whatever. And I actually was blessed. I think some of you have heard my story before. I mean, I grew up, my mom was Catholic, my dad was Protestant. I grew up in a total Jewish neighborhood, and I married a Muslim. Life couldn't be more perfect, but I became religiously neutral. I just want to love everybody. And the fact of the matter to me is, I look at these things they're created, but they create separation at the same time. Not to say labels aren't important, because sometimes labels make who we are, but when the label becomes a division in our own minds, then that creates that behavior of taking sides. And actually, my mom was a diehard Democrat, my dad was a diehard Republican, so, and they always came back from the voting booth, we canceled each other out today. But they got along, and it's funny because when the relatives got over, it was kind of like the same thing you saw there, and it's like all the big people were, when I was a kid growing up, it's like, why do they just sit there and debate and argue and everything else, and we just want to go out inside and have fun. And that's really the play-like essence of a child, is that nature of having fun, releasing attachment to it. Ernest Holmes has a famous quote that says, if we want to create that cause, that we want to cause, we need to turn away. We need to turn away from the conditions. Not that we can't be aware of those conditions, because the awareness of the condition calls us to action. The fact that I saw a lady share her life story, as painful as it was, is a call to action for me, and one of the reasons why I'm speaking on this topic. So we can't, but to focus on it, to build drama behind it, to complain about it, to shoot it, express it to all of our friends, to go into the story on social media and dramatize it. And no, what Ernest Holmes says, we turn directly away and we focus on that which we wish to create, that which we wish to embody, because we are the creative beings. We are the perceivers, we are the receivers, but we are also the creators. And when we grasp that and we understand, yeah, there is that law which is everything is one. I am creator, yet there are differences. I can hold the truth for the world. And the truth is, if you brought all humanity together, and I've also had the fortune of traveling to different countries and gone to Fani's country in Indonesia, I've been in South America, and my job kind of took me all different places, to all different cultures. Humanity is wired basically the same everywhere. If you ask them about their values or what their needs or their wants are, if you set them all in a room, it'd basically be the same. Everybody wants to express love and feel love. Everybody wants clean water and healthy food. They want health and well-being. They want equality and fairness, especially when they don't see fairness in the system in the world. They want equality. They want fairness. They want oneness. They want togetherness. They want to be our friends. We want to be their friends. And they don't want war. We would all agree with that. So the knowing of the what is the agreeable part. It's the how and the who is where we get tangled up. Because we're stuck in a system typically where we elect the who, by whatever definition you want to call it, and we become somewhat powerless because when the who doesn't do what we want, we create that clash. But we can all agree on the basic principles, the basic values. And so to understand these three areas of human behaviors, and we integrate it with those three laws, the behavior number one is the behavior of taking sides. The behavior number two is being triggered or arguing or fighting, just like I talked about my family or when they would get together. And there is an energetic quagmire in the spirituality about fighting. We've heard war against this, war against that, war against drugs, war against poverty, war against whatever you want to put after the word war. It's a never-ending battle. So in spirituality, the truth is, it's the presence of neutrality or peace. It's the affirmation of truth and holding to that, and not necessarily battling it either out there or in our own mind. And as we start to shift into the age of Aquarius, we're going from the divine masculine to the divine feminine. And when I speak of those terms, I know that we're different genders in this room, but we all have each quality within us. It's kind of funny because quite often when you hear somebody say they call God he, how many times do we hear that? God has to be both genders. I'm sorry. Because we wouldn't see living proof of each gender here. If God is infinite possibilities, God is all genders, and less of a being, more of a thing. That's what Ernest Holmes says, the thing itself, when he speaks of the God presence. And quite often in Western religions, we tend to personalize it as an individual and give it a title of a he, whereas quite often the Eastern philosophies and religions are looking at it as all the one thing. So with the three human behaviors, you got the behavior taking sides, and of course, once you take sides, you want to fight about it, right? Not us. Again, I'm talking about everybody else out there. And then the last one is we tend to seek the Savior outside of us. True? I mean, I'm conditioned that way too, and I see that within me. We tend to see somebody else is going to solve this for us. It's either some other authority, or some other figure, or some other system, maybe it's a system, or we truly believe that there's some sort of Savior that's going to come here. And the truth is, the second coming is us. The Christ consciousness is awakened within us. If you really want to trick humanity, tell them the power is outside of them, and they're not worthy of it. Have we heard that story before? Right? And if you wanted to go further and control humanity, all we would have to do is keep them divided and keep them in fear. Do we see that happening sometimes too? So if we understand all is one, infinite, you are one with the one, I am one with the one, we have conscious choice as a creator, and even though we see expressions of up, down, left, right, good, bad, whatever, we can anchor in the divine truth that we wish to see here at this now moment. And we have that much power. This is nothing but a tree trunk with two branches, one going to the left, one going to the right. It's one thing by the law of one. And as we understand these concepts and we bring them forth, and we also understand, humans are funny, right? We look at our behaviors, taking sides, fighting for what we think is right, and then seeking the outside savior, which is the opposite of being self-empowered. We are divine sacred beings of light. We have all that is within us. And so the basic three affirmations is sides. The affirmation, to bring it back into alignment, is I am whole. Say that with me. I am whole. And then when we have fight, what's the opposite of that? Peace. Somebody said peace, yeah. I am peace. Say that with me. I am peace. And then when we seek the outside savior, quite often that's because I don't see myself as being complete. So I am complete. Say that one with me. I am complete. I am whole. I am peace. I am complete. And the last one, I am love. Because love conquers all. At the end of the day, love, they always talk about love wins. Love always wins. And the more that we embody self-love, the more that we feel that we are enough, the more that we resonate in our space without conflict, the more that we create not only that condition within us, within our little circle of friends and family, the more that we become that beacon of light that shines so bright, that illuminates out into the world, because we are all an integral part of that divine matrix of humanity that can create heaven on earth. And the thunder just answered, yay! Woo! And so it is. Okay, let's bring this into prayer. Perfect timing. As I am grateful for standing here once again in front of the loving family of the Center for Spiritual Living, Cape Coral, and knowing that the one divine truth behind all things, behind all happenings, whatever we see, whatever we know, whatever we think, there's only one truth, and that is there is a divine, infinite presence that lives in and through all things. Call it spirit, call it the source creator of the universe, or simply by the word God. It is the only thing, and it is good. It is sacred. It is here, and it is now. And in this truth of God is all there is, I am one with this presence. It moves through me and as me, and it speaks the word that I speak at this present moment. And this is the same divine truth for all beings that are here within the Center for Spiritual Living, Cape Coral, physically or online, as well as all of humanity. And I know that there is love that is present. I know that there is a sacred presence that is moving and expanding through us and as us and animating out into the world and healing this planet and making anew, making a greater yet tomorrow, making a beautiful world. It's in gratitude that I release this to divine and we anchor it by saying the words, and so it is. Namaste.
Sorry, everybody. I didn't realize that I was on tithing today. So, this is the time in our service where we come together to consciously give for all of the gifts that we've received today. And I know that I am just personally so grateful to have the Center for Spiritual Living Cape Coral to grow, teach, learn, and practice the Science of Mind philosophy. And speaking on behalf of our Leadership Council and Practitioner Corps, I just want to thank each and every one of you, because without your generous gifts and donations, the contributions of your time, talent, and treasures, our doors would not stay open. So thank you so much. Our spiritual home does operate solely from the financial support of wonderful folks like you. So without further ado, it is my pleasure to present this opportunity for giving. And we offer several ways for you to do so. You can text your tithe to 239-320-3820. You can send your contribution through PayPal at cslcapecoral.org. Or you can make it easy on yourself and visit our website at cslcapecoral.org and just click that little donate button. And when you do so, you can also set up automatic contributions to come out weekly, bi-weekly, or monthly, however you choose to give. And you can also do it the old-fashioned way and mail us a check. We love checks. Those are for the Center for Spiritual Living Cape Coral. Our address is 406 Southeast 24th Avenue, Cape Coral, Florida 33990. And you can also support your spiritual home through your shopping with Amazon. Visit smile.amazon.com and select the Center for Spiritual Living Cape Coral as your charity of choice. And for those of you joining us in person, our ushers will be coming around in just a few moments for you to place your gifts in the baskets as we confirm our tithing affirmation. And I invite you to repeat the words on the screen with me. Today, I know the activity of divine abundance is at work in my life and the life of this center. I give and receive generously as I live in the flow of bountiful good.
Standing as one in the presence of the power, standing where others have stood. Gladly we offer the gifts of our abundance, knowing the source of our good. Standing as one in the presence of the power, standing where others have stood. Gladly we offer the gifts of our abundance, knowing the source of our good. Gladly we offer the gifts of our abundance, knowing the source of our good.
Thank you, B and Phyllis. And so I just speak a word of blessing over these tithes and gifts. I know that divine love through me blesses each gift and each giver. And I know that each gift is pressed down, multiplied, and returned overflowing to each one, giving and to the receivers. And so it is with this attitude of gratitude for all these gifts and so much more that our spiritual home provides that I bless it. I know it is good, and I release my word to the law, knowing that it is done. And so together we claim this by saying, and so it is.
Thank you, Mel. And thank everyone. Isn't this a great place to hang out? Yay. So I am your personal invitation to some goings-on here at the center. So please check your email, pick up a flyer out in the lobby, or visit our website at cslcapecoral.org to view and register for any of these upcoming events and classes. We have a Prosperity Book Club with Malika Davey, and that is on Tuesdays. And have you started the book already? Where is she? And but I know with them you can always jump in and read along with them because you're still reading it at the in the meeting. It's a Zoom meeting. And the book they're reading right now is The 15 Commitments of Conscious Leadership, and it is an awesome book, and that is through a love donation of $30 a month. And today, we are having our potluck immediately following the service, and so please stick around and have bread with us, and if you didn't bring anything, don't worry, there's always more than enough. On Wednesdays, we have midweek tune-up, and outside, weather permitting, or we meet in the little round circle in the lobby, and putting a little more spirituality in your week. So we have that, and practitioners come up after service, and we love to pray with you. So please don't leave here with anything heavy on your heart, or if you just want to celebrate, and if you're manifesting something, we would love to anchor that with you. So come up and see us directly after service. And right now, I welcome everyone to stand. This is our Standing in the Light portion of our service, where we take our friends, family, and loved ones, and we hold them in the possibilities and the potentialities of their wholeness and perfection together. So I am standing in the light on this day for this amazing spiritual center, Centers for Spiritual Living Cape Coral, and so very grateful for our new minister. Standing in the light for Stephanie and her grandpa. Standing in the light for Jane and Julie and the extended family. Standing in the light for Erica and Rita. Standing in the light for family and friends.
Standing in the light for my brother Ray, knowing he is whole.
Standing in the light for Brother Ray. Standing in the light for Kiara. Standing in the light for David. Standing in the light for good health. Standing in the light for Sharon. Standing in the light for Frank, Rick, and Marianne. And I'm standing in the light for all the unspoken prayers. And I invite you at this time to include your own name into this sacred light. Linda. So how good it is to come together. I am so very grateful to stand amongst this beloved community as we recognize together the oneness that is everywhere present, that God stuff, that good stuff, that perfection, wholeness, balance, order, creativity, intelligence, wisdom, that is ever present everywhere that we are, every nanosecond of every day, and knowing that it is right here, right now, and that it precedes us, that as we walk out of here today, that we walk into that field of grace, that field of love. And I am just knowing today that we are the possibilities and the potentialities of greater and greater love. And so I am just knowing that we together make a mighty difference on the planet. And I am so very grateful for this and so much more. And I invite you to anchor it with me by saying the words, "And so it is."
We let the love wash over us. We let it be. We let peace, we let the peace wash over. Joy wash over.